Woodards. I'm your host for this evening, Craig Woodard Sr., and this is episode 46. We have a great show lined up for you this evening. It's going to be incredible. I wanted to start off talking about a few items concerning my nonprofit organization, the Down Syndrome Association of Tampa Bay. Of course, I hail out of Tampa Bay here in the Riverview area. Grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania. We'll be discussing my hometown in just a little bit, and we have a special guest here that's going to blow your socks off. Her name is Savannah Wilson, just a young, dynamic young lady that is a local activist in Erie, Pennsylvania, and she's incredible. And I said I have to have her on the show. So starting off, hey, we had our second class of our 321 art class in St. Pete out in Pinellas County today, and it was fantastic. We had a number of students that joined. I'm going to be posting the pictures in just a little bit. As soon as we get off the podcast, I'll post those on our Facebook page on the Down Syndrome Association of Tampa Bay. But listen, you got to keep following our page on Facebook. When we're doing it once a month, we've expanded. Of course, we're coming back here in Hillsborough County for our 321 art class in December. That's the other thing I wanted to go over with you. We are in year 5, starting up on December 1st. We did get our grant from Hillsborough County, so 321 art class is coming back. We have free speech therapy, free occupational therapy, and it's a beautiful thing because you let these individuals blessed with Down syndrome come in, and from all ages as well, and they get to express themselves artistically, and it is such a beautiful thing. And we're doing the same thing in Pinellas County as well. We wanted to make sure that we could expand because there's some great families out there that actually don't get a chance to come over to Hillsborough County. So St. Pete is right over the bay. It's over the bridge, and we wanted to see if we could expand over there and do some services over there, just like we are doing over here in Hillsborough County. So we had our second class today, and I look forward to posting the pictures for you all so you can see those coming up. Hey, just as a reminder as well, you know me, I'm an early guy. I got this all started and everything. We are going to be hosting our Rise Up for Down Syndrome Gala presented by Achieva Credit Union. We got a title sponsor already, and I just actually made the post live, the website site live just a couple weeks ago. So make sure that you go to our website, www.dsatb.org. That's www.dsatb.org, and look for 2026 gala tickets. You can order them right there. Last year's event and the year before that sold out. This year's event, well, actually next year's event, 2026, is going to be on October 3rd, Saturday, October 3rd, from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Tampa River Center. It's a blast. I'm telling you, it's a blast. My buddy Rob Beer came down. He obviously is from Erie. We played football against each other. He went to academy, and he lives in North Carolina. He came down to his second one, and he just had a blast, man. So you don't have to live here to come, but you got to get down here to go. So if you guys can make some plans, man, October 3rd, I'd love to have you guys down here. Those in the Erie area that want to come on down and check it out. Also, we do have an active Arby's fundraiser going on right now. If you are in the Riverview area on 301 South, please stop by. Get a roast beef sandwich or something, and contribute to our fundraiser because they have the meats, right? So go on down there, man, and round up for Down syndrome. This fundraiser is going to be going on until November 23rd. I'm honored. They reached out to me and said, we want to help your organization. So it started about a week and a half ago, and it goes all the way through November 23rd. So I am extremely excited about that. So if you're down here, come on and help a brother out. All right. So I want to get to our main event right here. I'm going to slide her in real quick. There she is. This is Savannah Wilson, everyone. Savannah, thank you for joining me on Etcetera with the Woodards. How are you doing today?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How are you?
You are. I'm doing really good. It's funny. I was going to start the show and tell everybody how blessed I was because I woke up today, and there's a lot of people that have some loss. I'm experiencing some loss right now. For those that haven't heard, my mom's younger sister, my Aunt Gloria, passed away on Friday. I had a buddy of mine that decided to wear my football jersey today that went to Mercyhurst University with me. He played basketball. Will Stinson passed away on Friday as well. It's you know Tomorrow is not promised to us, so we have to take advantage of today and the present. And I'm sure happy that you joined me tonight because I know you got a lot to say. You are very bright, articulate, and well spoken and outspoken, and I love that about you. So I wanted to kind of introduce you to Erie, Pennsylvania. I know there's many people that already known you, but there's a lot of people that watch the podcast, so I want to let them know how talented you are. My cousin Deontay Cooley, our co-host, he hosted the Freedom of Speech town hall meeting last week, and you were one of the panelists from the community, and you had a lot of great things to say. So first of all, let's back up to last week. How was the town hall meeting for you, and discuss some of the topics that you talked about?
Well, first, I wanted to say that congratulations on your sponsor and all the amazing things that you're doing down in Tampa. That's that's leadership right there. So,
Thank
love
you.
that. That's awesome. I love how we're both rocking the blue today.
Yeah,
Activated throat chakra. Love that. That's awesome. Um,
absolutely.
so, about last week, it was very much needed. Erie, we love our Facebook, but we need to have our conversations in real time. And that was just the start of many, many to come. Topics that I spoke about was housing initiatives, like what we can do for Erie. Unfortunately, that part did not really get as much recognition as I would hope it did, but I spoke about a mini housing economy hub where we can create a self sufficient housing hub with local grocery stores, local retailers, and locally owned daycares that are all in one building where people can come in, they can rent, and they can work in the building to work towards home ownership. So, me and some other local researchers are putting that together, putting that vision together to present that hopefully at the beginning of 2026 to the new leaders. Because
Right.
shout out to Daria Devlin and Christina Vogel, who flipped our county and our city. So we have a
Didn't it?
new mayor, new
Yeah,
executive, new
yeah.
we're gonna happen here in Erie. So I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome. 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 Um, what do you think the reality of getting this hub would be? I know it's going to be a project that would take some time, but it seems like you've already done the legwork to get the backing and the important people kind of behind you. So I know you're at the beginning stages, but what will it take to bring this hub to Erie?
Well, actually, the work is actually just begun.
Okay.
I just finally got it into words today. So the next step is to continue planning with the researchers. We have to do the research, find local development, and then pitch this idea. Even though I'm sure that they would have our backs, we still want to communicate that and also community input as well. This is a space where I want to cultivate not just me, but the community wants to cultivate more working spaces, art spaces, so art studios, anything that artists would need or a creative entrepreneur would need in the building.
You're bringing up some really good ideas. Last week on our podcast, last Sunday night, I spoke with someone we know very well, Deanna Chatfield. 16-year-old, just has her whole life ahead of her, and she is bright and articulate, and she speaks from the heart as well. And she talked about um, there not being a lot of things to do in Erie, Pennsylvania as a teenager. Now you're hitting a new age group. You're 24. Have some great ideas, but what do you think about her idea to bring some type of a teen club where it could be like a hangout center to keep some of the teens off the streets.
I love that you brought that up because when I watched that, I was just like, yes, like she is definitely somebody that inspires me just as much as she said I inspire her.
Yep.
So being able to have that mirror and look back and be like, yes, like there is somebody, and of course it's a young woman, of
Yeah.
course, because that is at the forefront of our future is women leadership. The
Yep.
divine feminine is here, it's on the rise, and she's definitely one of the people in Erie that took that torch without anybody having to ask. So God bless her and protect her on her journey because it's a hard one.
Absolutely.
Um, but for as for the team club goes, I think that's a brilliant idea. I think that we do have some things like that already with the ECAT building. They have like after school art classes. But we do need more things that are free, that are accessible, and that are led by good teachers because we could have these spaces and these centers, but we need people that actually want to be there and that are getting paid to be there because this is a lot of work. Um, People that love to be around children, and I'm thinking just at the top of my head, shout out to Andrea Moffat. She is one of the most amazing teen leaders here in Erie, Pennsylvania, and she was run out of the YMCA because of whack leadership.
Hmm.
And we need people like her in these spaces. We need people like Deontay in these spaces because kids look up to people like that. And we need a balance of the women and the men. I work currently at a daycare here in Erie,
Okay.
and it's a lot. It's run, so that's amazing. But we do need men in these spaces, especially for the young women, especially for the young men. They're looking for somebody to look up to, and
Yeah.
women can't do it all. So
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. I want you to take me back, Vanna. Talk about. I know you're born in Erie, grew up in Erie. What part of town are you from? What school did you go to? How did you develop into this wonderful activist that I see in front of me?
all right, well, buckle up because this is a story. Okay, I'm going to try to condense this.
Take your time. You got number time.
So I grew up in the inner city. Grew up between West 38th and West 22nd. My stomping grounds, lower West Side, Upper West Side, in between those areas. But a lot of my friends from the East Side would come to my house because it was safe over here.
Yeah.
They were away from the drama. They were away from people that literally wanted to take their lives.
Yeah.
So I would cultivate, just the hangout zone here at my house. Have bonfires, run around the neighborhood, do things that kids did. I was born in the age of technology, so make funny videos, post them on Facebook, go live and talk about people. That was kind of like what we did back
Yeah.
then. I don't want to say back in the day because it wasn't that long ago, but go to the Save and I games,
Yeah.
go to the basketball games down at Gannon. That was like a big thing that we would do. But it was all about the journey, like how we were going to get there. We had no money, but we made things work. So it was really fun. I think when I started to experience violence, not only just at home, but in my community, is when I started to really change. I've always been very outspoken, very on top of it.
Yeah.
My grandma, my mom, my sister, my a dog, a cat could get it from me. Like I was always spitting fire at a very young age. I think that's just what God made me to be. Is this person that is very uncomfortable with hidden truths. I don't like lying, and I don't like disrespect. I do not tolerate disrespect. I don't care who you are. I don't tolerate it. I try to be as respectful as I can.
Yeah.
Usually, if I'm being disrespectful, it's because I've been disrespected, and um, you know, you know how that goes. So
Yeah.
recently, at the beginning of 2025, I mean, I've been advocating in the community now since 2021 when Roe v. Wade was overturned. That made me realize I needed to get off the bench and in the game and do something about it.
Okay.
I was canvassed by a person. I was canvassed by an individual for Tyler Titus, and I was like, okay, finally, I need to get in there. That same person contacted me back in the spring of 2022. It was like, hey, like Dan Pastore is running. Do you want to be a part of this? And I was like, whatever, sure. And the first thing I told Dan Pastore, which he lost, by the way, but he was running against Mike Kelly. The first thing that I told Dan Pastore was, you need to get into Erie High. You need to make connections with students that are freshly 18 and try to get them registered to vote that is your best bet. If you want to try to get people to vote for you, you have to connect with the youth. And he was writing it down. I thought he was going to take my idea, but then people kind of got in his ear because my way was like not conventional. So he ended up losing, and that was fine. I stayed in the realm of politics, like I said, advocating for Roe v. Wade being overturned, marching to Dan Laughlin's office, and leading a group of hundreds of thousands of people, it felt like, for the
Hmm.
Roe v. Wade being overturned from down State Street, from Dan Laughlin's office. And it was the most powerful experience I've ever experienced. And I was like, this is what I'm born to do this. Like, I'm born to be in this role of yelling and screaming for something that is other than, telling somebody that they need to stop disrespecting me. This
Yeah.
is about all of us. This is about the collective disrespect that has been cultivating in our county. Done with it. So, fast forward to this year, I watched a young woman, Julia Tate, be killed in front of me by gun violence. It was awful. It
Yeah.
was terrible. Like, it was the most terrible thing I've ever witnessed, and I've witnessed a lot of people losing their lives in this city from gun violence, but for it to be that close to me, outside of the party that we were at, and, coming outside and seeing this, trigger warning to anybody that's out there. I don't This is my experience. Like, this is really what I've experienced at the beginning of 2025 this year,
Yeah.
laying on the ground, like, just cameras. I think that's really what triggered me the most, is like everybody had their cameras out. Everybody was recording. And I was like, what the are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, get away from her. Like,
Yeah.
get away from her. Call the police. Everybody needs to like back up. Like, and nobody was listening, obviously. But then I saw the police and the ambulance come, and I'm like, can you get the crowd? Like, get the crowd under control right now. And they're walking so slow, so like, oh, it's just another day, like just another, black people just killing each other, just another day. Literally is what the crowd was saying, what my community was saying. People
Yeah.
of color were saying this is just another day. Other people were falling down to their knees, crying. My sister, she was in shock. I was in shock, but I was angry. I was like, this is I'm done with this. Like, I've watched too many people up at this point lost their lives, and for it to be right there at my feet, that could have been any of us that night.
Right.
And rest in peace, and my condolences to her family and to anybody that had to experience that night, because if it was not for her sister, she would not have got justice. Her sister, shout out to her sister, because her sister staked out, found the murderer, and turned them into the police. The police were dragging their feet. This would have been another cold case if the sister and the family were not involved.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry you had to witness that and go through that and these experiences, that I have heard in Erie over the course of years. And of course, I graduated high school in 1992, graduated college at Mercyhurst in 96, lived there until 2003, worked at WICU as a sports anchor. So even being in the media, I heard a lot of different things on throughout the city. But after I left is when it started to really get bad. My childhood, we fought and we were playing basketball with each other in the afternoon. It was a different time then, and now you got people that'll pull out knives. Like, there's no coming back from that. And the other thing that other people will pull out, like you stated, is the cell phones, these cameras, and everyone wants to get the moment. Now, granted, I'm part of that, because from a media standpoint, if you have the action caught on camera, that could lead to a specific arrest. But anything other than that you're trying to capture, it's just ridiculous. A lot of people need to be helping. And you talked about disrespect, about the police and how things are handled, and that leads me into today being day 130 with the investigation of my cousin Marcello Woodard. You know, we've been fighting, we've been loud, we've been screaming, we've been pushing to try to get this DA to give us some type of respect, give the family some type of update. She has not spoken to them verbally. Um, we've gotten two press releases that she has sent out, and I don't know. I just have a feeling she's trying to sit on this thing. The election is over with, so that's no longer an excuse, and we need to bring justice for Cello. Your thoughts on this 130 days? Of course, you've been pretty involved in this particular situation as well. 130 days. Your thoughts on that?
Well, just to be transparent, I really wasn't that involved. I did go to a single protest and I spoke there. Also, I wasn't here in Erie when that happened because I
Yeah.
needed to take a mental break. Like I mentioned at the beginning
Mm,
of the year, if I were to be in Erie when that happened, I probably would have lost my mind. Like
yeah.
God was protecting me from that because I took my first solo trip to Myrtle Beach. So I wasn't
Good for
even in Erie and I was just like came back to that news and I was like, "Shit." I was like, what? I was so heartbroken
you.
and I'm angry. Like I can't even sugarcoat it. I'm mad. I'm mad, but it's also respect to the family. Like if the family, because I've heard that the family doesn't want the DA talking to us if it's not the family. So if that's the truth, then we as the community members need to respect that and we need to stay out of it. If the family does not want us involved with what the DA is saying, then we should not be speaking up if they don't want that. Like that's I don't ever want to make anybody feel uncomfortable and I don't ever want to overstep a boundary. I feel like quite often here in Erie, what can happen is people can take people's grief and try to use that for other reasons. Which, yes, it's important. We needed to be talking about this. We need to be advocating, but people are not advocating correctly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to stick to our strengths. And right now, we don't have a strong foundation within the Black community here in Erie. And we need to get to back to basics with that. There's also other things I spoke about at the panel is like we need community watch or
Yeah.
neighborhood watch. We need a neighborhood watch. We need people reporting like what's going on in the prisons, what's going on in that system. Like we don't have any ins, we don't have anybody that is really willing to step up to the plate in that manner. So I feel like what we could do that's in our control when it comes to the Marcello justice is start monitoring what's going on in our communities because unfortunately, I've been advocating about this now for years about police accountability. We do not have a really cohesive police civilian review board, getting people onto those boards, finding out more than just going to city council and county council. Because as I learned from experience in going to these meetings and talking to these people, is they're useless. These people that sit on
Yeah.
city council, county council, they don't care. It's out of their control. And the more that we go there without intention and a real plan, the more that we're gonna delay the justice. And that's personally for me. I'm an artist, like I do digital visual arts. I made a piece for cello to represent my grief and my pain going through this. But also, like my friends and I, we run a nightclub every single Saturday in Erie called Sim City. It's a rave. We're going to honor the arts, but we take that and we bring that to protests. We bring that to these really stale, dry, boring politician meetups because we know that people they need to process the grief through the movement of the body. Like we are not
Yeah.
going to be able to process anything that's happened in the past 10 years here when it comes to gun violence. We need to process our grief through art and through movement. The people here are so stuck on what they're comfortable with. If we are comfortable, we won't grow. And that goes every
Yeah.
single aspect in life. That's politics, that's using your voice, that's art, that's fashion. That's even getting out there and just being honest about your friend group and the people that you're around. Like if we're not making ourselves uncomfortable as a community and having uncomfortable conversations, we will continue to see this unjustly matter keep happening and happening because these people are feeding off the fact that we don't have community within each other. And that brings my
Right.
point to what I was talking about predators, because predators aren't just people that touch you. Predators are systems that keep people silent. If you can keep kids silent and keep them complicit, you can keep a whole nation silent. And that's what we're seeing
Yep.
here, especially in Erie County. Erie County determines if presidential elections are blue or red. It's just
Yep.
the facts. Here in Erie, we are very historic. This is like one of the first places in Pennsylvania where people touched down and started making decisions for the rest of the nation, the rest of the country. And we need to start, as Erie citizens, realizing the part that we play in history, because we play a big part in history.
I agree 100% with you, and I'm with you there. And you know, it's crazy because I wish I would be able to be in Erie a lot more to be able to make some movement up there, at least to be able to assist, because it's people like you and people like Malcolm Pulliam and people like Deontay and Deanna and many others that are going to exert change. Where do you see? I mean, now that I really think, unfortunately, um, my cousin's life being lost has banded the community together more than it was when he was alive, right? And I see on social media, I can see the banding together. I can see that so many people, um, black, white, or indifferent, they want justice for Cello, and not just for Cello, but they want justice as a whole. And with people like you involved, and the community maybe doing a 180 a little bit, especially the black community, because we know how things were in the past and even recently and maybe even currently. But um, what kind of a change would you like to see over the next 5 years? Like, where would you like to see Erie in the next 5 years?
Well, that's a good question, because that's a very loaded question. I feel like my role in Erie has really changed. It's no longer advocate or somebody that is an outspoken person. It's
Yeah,
strategic and it is spiritual work. I might sound a little woo woo, so
it's all
but
right. Mm-hmm.
this land is entangled with deep, 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 deep trauma.
Yeah,
And if we are not willing to face the trauma and go through it, we'll never overcome it. So what does that take for the next 5 years? We have to redefine what justice means. What
yeah,
does justice mean for our community? Because we haven't really seen any justice here. So we have to kind of take it back and start looking and examining at the system here in Erie.
yeah,
Who is the big stakeholders? Why is Erie the number one worst place in America for Black people to move? Why? We have to look at that. If we have excellent Black leadership here, tell me, why is it the worst place for Black people to live? Because the math is not mathing. It makes no sense. If the
right.
people had hope, if the people had real hope and real encouragement, they would have been took action in ways in their lives to work towards a greater good. But people do not speak their truth. People have open secrets that we all know in this community. We all know it.
Yeah,
And it's time to start speaking it, because the only way that we're going to enforce change is to start bringing the shadows to the light. We can't keep saying it's going to come out on its own. No, that's propaganda I'm no longer falling for.
yeah,
We are the ones that have to bring it to the light. You have to be brave enough to do it, because yes, our world is being ran by psychopaths, because that's what these people are. I'm going to clock it. Trump is a psychopath. Putin is a psychopath. These people are psychos. And if we do not step up to the plate and meet them where they're at on their level, because I know Erie, we're some fighters.
yeah,
It's historic that we have been fighters, that we have been people that never back down. So, what are we backing down from now? The uncomfortability of ourselves and our unprocessed trauma. We have a lot of centers here and a lot of resources here that say that they help, that say that they're here to help, but it's ran by all, and I know I'm halfway, but I'm just going to say it. It's ran by white people that don't understand our collective struggle. Our
yeah,
seen will never be transcended if we keep getting met by people that are afraid to get out of their comfort zone or afraid to address the real issues in the room. And to be quite honest, my community knows more about leaders and what they got going on more than me because these leaders have been in power before I was born. And
Yeah.
that is a problem. That's a problem. I'm young, so it's an easy target for me to be a scapegoated. But the real tea is that these grown folks they know what's really going on, and it's time for y'all to step up and you know do your part. I'll be there too, but I can't be the only one. Okay, as a person that's understanding my role as a woman and as a
Yeah.
spiritual individual, my job is to call out the truth, and hopefully the people that hear my cry will come to me and we can collaborate and work together. But I'm not about to be out there doing everybody else's job.
5 years is a long journey, and a lot of change can happen, but people have got to want to change, and they got to start with themselves in order to make that happen. You know, you've been pretty busy. I saw you were part of the protest for upper education, part of the freedom of speech town hall meeting a week ago. What's next for you? What do you got your arms around coming up next?
Well, before those two things, I'm actually in the Jefferson Educational Society where I'm conducting research on the population decline throughout the county. It's a mess.
Okay.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
Population decline should have been a topic that should have been addressed 5 years ago because the reason why people are leaving are the same reasons what we're talking about. People are dying. People have food insecurities. There's poverty here. 44% of children in the city live in poverty, 17% in the county. That number could have raised but yeah, like we are struggling with some big issues here, and from what I've learned just throughout the cohort and the panel is that we do have the money. We do have the
Yeah.
money to fix it. It's just about who is in control of the money and where are they putting it. Because if you're a person that's getting money and you're running leagues, you're running youth activities or youth programs, then why are the youth still struggling? That doesn't really make any sense. Where are you putting the money? And that was the biggest conversation that was happening at the panel before I made my closing statement. We were talking about the economics and how to get money to the Black community here, and that's
Right.
why I said what I said, because there's a lot of Black leaders that do get a lot of money, like a lot of it, and I don't know what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
Like I really don't. They're posting photo ops in front of Harriet Tubman looking like a baddie. Well, I can do that too.
Yeah.
So, where's that going to get our community? Because I'm here to have open dialogue, and I'm not afraid to meet with anybody and have coffee. Because this aggression that it might seem like I'm having is actually all the pain and the trauma that I've been through in this community, and I'm willing. I took a class from Harvard. I know how to communicate. I know how to put my feelings where they belong. But I also know that my feelings are going to obviously be the only way to get us forward because I'm not going to be a perfect polished politician. I'm never going to be
Right.
that. That's never going to be my role. I'm here to disrupt. I'm here to talk about the truth, and I'm here to live my authentic life. I'm not here to be a pawn in somebody's role or be this person that's, oh, Savannah, let's invite her here because she's going to bring the fire or she's going to call out the things. No, we all need to be calling out the things, and we need to be honest because in my opinion, I struggle with authority and I struggle with men in positions of power because with the patriarchy, it's oppressive. It's ran on shame. It's ran on fear. And I don't have time for that. And the young ladies that are going to be the up and coming next leaders in
Hmm.
this city, they need support by men that aren't going to bash them when they cry or tell them that Black people, they lead with their hearts and not with their heads. That's not true. I can lead with both, and I can show you how it's more effective that way.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Let me ask you a question. Um, Everything you say, I love where it's coming from. I love your energy. I love your vision. Um, you know, you have a sharp head on your shoulders, my lady. You really, really do. And I'm so glad that I had you on the show today. Let me ask you, where does your strength come from?
I love that you asked that. So my strength, it comes from my gift of art, my gift of communication, my gift of being myself. But I serve the one that gave me the gift. That's God.
Yeah.
God and goddess. God and goddess gave me this gift, and that is the force that is holding me up through these tough, challenging battles. I was raised in the Catholic Church, all white people in that church.
Yeah.
So I really had to decode spirituality and religion for myself.
Hmm.
And without God, there is no version of me that you're seeing right here. I've walked through the darkest, deepest moments of hell. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, you don't have to die to go to hell. You can be living and
Yeah.
go through hell. And let
Say
me tell you, you could also reach heaven while you're still living. And once
it's
we
true.
realize that we are co creators of our reality and that God is not separate, God is within, like there is no stopping that. There is no stopping that. Every time I'm alone or if I need to reflect, I'm a person that likes to be in nature because my God doesn't live in a building. My God lives in the world.
Yeah.
So I connect with the people, I connect with nature, I connect with the sun, the moon, the stars, the water. Water is huge for me. I love the ocean. I love it. It's where it can hold me because the ocean has depth and I need depth. And a lot of you people out here a lot of you people out here are very shallow and I can't be met in shallow rivers. I need to be met where a lot of people are afraid to go, and the only person that's not afraid to go deep with me like that is God and goddess.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Hey, if there were five young women sitting in front of you right now, um, from the ages of 12 to 18, and they were looking for uh, guidance, they were looking for, um, they have the fire, but they don't know how to blow it out. They have the voice, but they don't know how to speak. Um, they have the vocal cords, but don't know how to scream. Um, what would you say to those five individuals to make them different when they walk out the door after you're done talking with them?
first, I would say it's okay to be angry because there's a lot to be angry about. Being angry is the most powerful part of being a leader. Second thing I would say is get a sport that's a full contact sport. I play roller derby, 44 major rage. That is me. That is me. Okay, I love playing
Yes.
roller derby.
Yes.
I will knock you out. Like, don't play. Okay, and on roller skates, ooh, you're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So get into a full contact sport.
Yeah.
Learn how to use your anger in a strategic way.
Yeah.
Then I would say get involved in local politics,
Yep.
learn how to speak your truth to elective officials, and because you're young, make mistakes. When I first started speaking up at city council, I used to go up in there and be like, "What's up, everybody? Like, my name is Savannah Wilson. Y'all better wake it up. I'm here to talk." People would be like, "Yo, that's great and all, but you gotta, if you're trying to relay a message, you gotta tone it down." So,
Tone it down a little bit.
tone it down. You got to find ways to call them out
Yeah.
without actually calling them out because people are afraid. And that's a
Yeah.
good thing. It's also a frustrating thing when you're trying to communicate how you feel. So the next thing I would say is lean into that softness. Lean into the fact that you are a feminine woman.
Yeah.
Use your fashion. Use your makeup. Use your rings, your jewelry. Use the things that God gave you, babes, because we are women. We lead different than men. Don't let a man tell you how to lead because he's not a woman.
Right.
There at the town hall, I know this is, or at the panel, this is
Yeah.
too much information, but I don't care. This is for the ladies out there. I was bleeding that day. I was on my cycle that day. Okay. Okay. Anything a man could do, I could do bleeding. Okay. Like
Absolutely.
out here
Absolutely.
with the transparency because it's the truth. They try to make us feel ashamed of our cycles. There's no
Yeah.
reason to be ashamed of our cycles,
That's
okay?
right. That's
So
right.
you use your cycle, understand your cycle,
Yep.
know when your body is tired and when you need to rest. Know when your body has energy and you're ready to go off, you're ready to explode. Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, these are the things that they don't teach us on purpose
Right.
because they want us to be spiritually oppressed. This is all about spirit suppressing the feminine. This is all about the spiritual feminine aspects of women because
Right.
men also have these spiritual aspects of femininity and the patriarchy tries to suppress that in men too. So it goes both ways. And if the more that we accept women and our bodies and the way that we show up in the world, the more that men are going to feel comfortable showing up in the world the way that they need to.
Yep. After that list, I want to take you back to something that you said that was so important, and I want you to explain because you said that you took a trip for your own mental health.
Yes.
How important is it for people to take care of their mental health after they've done everything that you just described?
It's probably the most hardest thing ever is to choose yourself, especially when you're a healer,
Yeah.
especially when you're an empath, and especially when you care about your community. I drove 11 hours after raving for 8. Okay, 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. And I left to Myrtle Beach and drove 11 hours by myself. And when I smelled that ocean air, I did not regret it. I did not regret it. I was like, this is what I needed. Like I said, like just being held by the elements around us, like being in front of that water and seeing how big the ocean is, it just made my problems like this small. And knowing
Yeah.
that, people go there for that relaxation, for that rest. I had some calamaris on the boardwalk. I was drinking my little drink. It was just so
Yeah.
free because when I leave Erie, people talk to me. I get very surprised sometimes when people are just like, "Oh, like how are you?" Or they interact with me. Here, people are so mean to each other. They don't interact with each other. So like when I say hi to people here on the streets and like they say hi to me, it's like a whoa, whoa, whoa. Like this
Yeah.
person actually like responded to me.
Right.
So it's nice to be around people that are not caught in the Erie mindset because the Erie mindset respect my community, love my community, but y'all be some fake snake sometimes, slimy energy. And
Yeah.
it be exhausting, it's draining. So being away from that, this is how we're losing great people like you, great people like people that moved out. I'm thinking, BK Classy. I'm thinking Fly Guy with the shoe design. They all moving because nobody wants to be here and be unsupported by people that only support you on Facebook or only support you because they know your entire family.
Yeah.
Like that's how the Erie game works. And once you know that, it makes you like realize how to get out because I used to think that there was no way out. And then I was like, oh wait, all I got to do is get in my car and drive. It's that simple. So
Well, listen, um, just like I told Deanna, I have adopted her as my niece. Deontay and Malcolm have done the same. She calls us uncle. I am extending that to you. You are now my adopted niece. I am your uncle. If you need
we're,
anything, you holler at me. I got your back 100%. I love what you do. Keep doing it. Keep fighting that fight. I'm going to check in with you from time to time, and I'd love to have you back on the podcast here. Not too far down the line here. Okay, so um, keep doing your thing. I'm extremely proud of you. Is there any last words you want to say to the people?
the last words I want to say is honestly to you, thank you and thank you for what you're doing down in Tampa. That's actually super powerful. I was working with individuals with disabilities and I was a job coach. So up here in Erie, we really need a leader like you to step up. Like shout out to Opportunities Unlimited of Erie because they doing the work and they're doing the hard work of what it takes to get things like that off the ground. So I just want to say I love Erie. I love the 814 and if anybody is ever, ever, ever offended or feel some type of way about anything I have to say, please reach out to me. You could
Yeah,
always talk to me. It might not seem that way, and I might be salty. You might be salty, but let's sit down. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. I'm down to do that. I'm not just all fire. I can be softness too.
that's awesome. There's nothing that cannot be fixed with adult conversation, and I agree with that 100%. It's called maturity, and
Radical compassion and accountability.
that's right. And you exude all of that. So, um, Vanna, thanks for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. I'm gonna let you go here. Slide you off. There we go. Hey, she is something else, man. I tell you what. I'm so glad that I had her on the show tonight. That you guys were able to kind of hear a little bit more from Savannah Wilson. Everyone, Savannah Wilson. She is something else. And we're going to hear a lot about her and a lot from her down the line. And Deanna Chatfield's coming up as well. And I have been super blessed to have these ladies on, Etcetera, with the Woodards for the last 2 weeks. And, I've named Deanna Chatfield our teen correspondent. And, we'll see if Vanna wants to take part, and I could check in with her, and she could do a piece on the podcast here down the line just to kind of keep people in tune with what's going on. But she has a super perspective, and I appreciate her sharing that with us tonight. So, hey, I'm glad everyone watched tonight. She was a blessing. I am so thrilled that I had her on. We probably are going to be on sometime this week, I believe. I'm going to check with Deontay and see when he wants to roll again. If we don't roll throughout the weekday, we will be back next Sunday evening around 7:30, 7:45, something like that. I'll let you guys know. But this has been Etcetera with the Woodards. It's been episode 46. Listen, we're at day 130 still with Justice for Cello. I need everyone to continue to fight. I need you all to scream. I need you all to continue to shout until we get justice for Cello. It's coming. I know we got to be patient. The first case out in Fresno, California still has been undetermined. It's still an ongoing investigation, and that case started. That murder happened on December 24th of 2024. So we are going to have a little journey in front of us. I've always said this is a marathon, not a sprint. We have to continue to keep the main thing, and that's keeping Cello's remembrance alive and fighting for justice for my cousin Marcello. Thank you for joining us. For Deontay Cooley, I'm Craig Woodard Sr. It's been a great night. Talk to you next week.